Hi, I'm Nikki.
And I'm Megan.
Welcome to the Grimdark Diaries.
We're your geek gal pals obsessed with true crime and all things dark and disturbing.
Hi, hello, everybody. Welcome back. Megan and I had a real horror movie situation the other day.
What? What happened?
Well, like a self-imposed horror movie situation.
Okay.
We had a windstorm the other day.
Oh, yeah, that was bad.
It was very bad, so it was very loud outside. And then I was upstairs by myself playing my VR headset.
Right.
And when you're in VR, like, it's quite loud because
Yeah.
I was playing games. But it would be so windy outside that all of a sudden stuff would be like crashing and banging.
What?
When I think I would be alone, but I'm in VR, so I'd be like, somebody in here.
Oh, no.
And it kept freaking me out.
What game were you playing?
I was playing Beat Saber.
Okay. That would actually be a little terrifying if your game started like glitching out and then all of a sudden you were in some new area.
Oh God, you're making the horror movie worse. Well, because sometimes, like, I'm pretty good if I'm playing, I can hear my husband coming and then I'll know he's in the room with me and I'll be like, what are you doing? I can hear you in here. Like, he'll just be like coming to see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So then I was having that moment. At first I heard a noise and I was like, wait a minute, my husband's streaming. So I was like, he can't be in here right now. So I was like, oh my God. And then I flipped off my headset and I was like, oh, it's the wind.
Oh my gosh.
So then I tried to keep playing, but then I kept hearing noises that sounded like somebody was coming in the room where I was. And I was like, nope, it's not working for me.
Oh my gosh, that's so scary. Yeah, absolutely. That sounds very horror movie-ish. That's how horror movies start, really.
Right?
The call is coming from inside the house.
Oh God.
Sorry, I'm loving horror movies. Although the wind that night, so you know how I normally never hear the wind because of the way my apartment kind of like, I'm on a corner, so the wind usually just like wishes right by. It doesn't come into my building, but if the wind is blowing in a certain direction, then I'll start to hear it. Well, I didn't hear it really, but it was blowing in that certain direction because my entire apartment sounded like all I heard was a giant crack all over my roof and walls. Like literally I thought my apartment was going to tip over. That's how loud the crack was. I actually looking around my room to see if there were literal cracks in my walls because it shifted so badly. I'm like, oh my God, am I gonna die? I'm on the ground level, so of course I'm thinking like, oh no,
It's all gonna come down.
It's all gonna come down on top of me. Like, I was so scared. And then I was like, all right, I don't see any cracks. Like, I think I'm okay, but I don't know what would have happened to make it crack that loud. Like, I've never heard my apartment crack that loud before. It was just so scary. That was a pretty wild wind.
Yeah, the wind scared all of us.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of the wind. We live in like the windiest freaking province.
We do.
And I'm so over it. Wind is my least favorite of all the elements.
Yeah.
It's always windy here. I don't like it.
The worst
if
is
I
when
could
it's
change anything
windy,
about living here.
windy and rainy at the same time. Oh God, that's the worst.
Yeah, now I own a house, so I'm very concerned with wind.
Yeah, that's true too. Got to think about your shingles on your roof.
Think about everything.
Yeah.
My tree branches are wild in the back. They keep falling down.
Oh no. Not your haven.
Right? I need those tree branches to block out the neighbors so I don't have to see
That's
them.
right. Exactly. Oh man. Love neighbors. Love neighbors.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah. How's that construction noise going on over there?
Yeah, there's construction happening outside my window in my neighbor's driveway, so I apologize to everybody if you hear hammers or saws or people screaming at each other, because they do that a lot too. They seem very unhappy.
Oh, that's great.
All the time.
Oh no.
Yeah, it makes for a really good living environment.
I bet. Yeah. It brings in that happy atmosphere that you're looking for to have your new home in.
Yeah, and they have the annoying yappy dogs. And then we discovered the other day, one of their dogs was out yapping at the far end of their backyard. And we were like, oh my God. And then the guy goes outside with an air horn to call it in.
No.
I'm not even joking with you.
What?
Yeah, they were like yelling for him to come in and he wouldn't. So then they got an air horn and they were making it honk. I'm like, really? Really.
Please. Oh my gosh. There are other ways that you can bring your dog in.
Maybe just train your
Wow.
dog.
Right, exactly.
Oh
Absolutely.
my God, I have to tell you something. Oh my God, speaking of dogs. Okay, so I was hanging out with my best friend Jen yesterday,
Yes.
and we had a lovely date. We got a pedicure, we went shopping, we had this amazing lunch, and it was
Amazing.
such a good day. But then we agreed the absolute highlight of the day is that we were driving and we were stopped at a red light, and then we noticed a guy kind of beside us also stopped, and he was on a bicycle. And then I was like, wait a minute, does he have a dog in his backpack?
Oh, really?
But it wasn't just like a knapsack, like it was an actual bag made for a dog, because we got weirdly close to him. So I
Yeah.
read the label on the bag, and it was this bag. It was kind of shaped like a tube, and he had like, I don't really know dog types. I think like a beagle or something.
Yeah.
And the dog was in there, and the dog had his little paws up on his owner's right shoulder, and he was leaning over his shoulder so he could watch. And we just saw that from the back, and we were like, oh my God, that's so cute. Like, what a good puppy.
Yeah.
And then the dog turns its little head and looks at us, and he's wearing goggles.
No way. That's so
And
cute.
like the equivalent of like skiing goggles, like huge reflective goggles. And the dog was so chill, he just like turned and looked at us with his big reflective goggles, and then like turned back, and we were like squealing.
Oh my God.
So then the light turned green and we were driving, so we ended up ahead of him because he's
Yeah.
in a bicycle.
Right.
And Jen was she's like, I'm gonna get in an accident because I just keep looking at him in the mirror because he's so cute.
Oh my God, that's adorable. I love
Anyway, so that was
that
the highlight of
story.
our day.
That was so
Dog
good.
in goggles on bike.
I had a highlight from my day yesterday because of a dog too. Well, that's really weird, actually. I didn't think to tell you this before. It was my nephew's birthday yesterday, so technically that was the real highlight, was hanging out with my nephew for his
Okay,
birthday.
suck up now, Megan.
I know.
We know the real highlight was the dog.
I mean, the dog was pretty cute. So we ordered pizza, and the pizza guy came, and he was sitting in the car, and he wouldn't come out, and I was like, this is weird. So I went out, and he's like pointing down, and I looked, and I was like, I don't see anything. I don't know what he's doing. He opens the door a little bit, and he's like, is the dog still out there? And I was like, oh, I don't see a dog. And then he starts to get out of his car, and the dog comes around the corner of his car. He turns around, sees a dog, and he starts like freaking out. Like, I think he's scared of dogs, which as a pizza delivery person, I feel like you're totally justified in being afraid of dogs.
Yeah.
This dog was a puppy though, and the dog smelled
Oh.
the pizza. And so the guy gets out of the car, and he's like, is this your dog? And I said, no, this isn't my dog. But there was a bunch of kids playing in the little area that we were at, and I looked at the kids, and I'm like, is this your dog? And they're like, no, we don't know where this dog came from. We've just been playing with it. I'm like, okay.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. There's like 6 or 7 kids outside playing outside with their bikes and their scooters and stuff, and playing with this poor puppy who doesn't seem to have an owner at this point. And then the dog jumps in the delivery guy's car.
No.
Yes. Starts sniffing the pizza, and so he grabbed the pizzas and he took them out. He realized it was a puppy and he was harmless. So he grabbed the pizzas and he brought them out, and he gave them to me, and I gave them to one of my other nephews, and I said, please take this inside so they can start eating. And I'm just out there, and I'm like, okay. He's like, this guy is like genuinely afraid of dogs. I could really tell. So it's just like,
no.
I know. So me and my oldest nephew, whose birthday it was, he kind of went around the other side. He's like, let's try to get him out of the car to help this poor delivery guy, because he's got to go do his job, obviously. And then so he's like, he opens the door, he tries to pull the dog out, but as soon as you grab him by the collar, he like gets down on his belly and he puts his head down on the ground. So like, you cannot, there's no way without hurting him, you'd have to like literally drag him out of the car, which we were not going to do. And then as soon as he let go, the dog jumps into the back seat. He's laying on the back seat of the car, and he's just sitting there like, he's just so cute. And he's like, the delivery guy, he's like, oh my God, what a sweetheart. He was like, he's shaking. Do you think that he's cold? Do you think I should put a blanket on him? I'm like, oh, that's really sweet. I'm like, it's not cold. I'm pretty sure he's just like scared. He's around a whole bunch of people he doesn't know. He's trying to find his safe place. Like, this is just what puppies do. And so my nephew goes over and tries to find the owner. So he's like going down the street. He finally finds the owner. he was in his house. He didn't even know that the dog escaped at all. So like,
Oh my goodness.
yeah. So he brings the owner over, and the owner's like, "Where's my dog?" I'm like, "He's just in the backseat of this car, this random person's car in our driveway." And so he comes over and he grabs the puppy, and he's like, "I'm so sorry." He's like, "I didn't even know she escaped." Like literally, this dog just escaped from the apartment that they were living in and was playing with children. Like it just was like the most
dog was
random...
having the best day ever.
Absolutely.
He made new friends.
Yes.
She smelled pizza.
Yeah, exactly. Got to hang out in the warm back seat of this car. Like this guy was so funny. The delivery driver, he brought out his phone. He called his friend. He was like FaceTiming with him so he could show him the dog in the car. And I just heard his friend on the other line like, "Can we please keep him?" Like, oh God. Oh, it was so funny. That was definitely a highlight for sure. That was so cute. Gotta love the puppies.
Well, let's go from puppies to our story.
Okay.
Which was the theme was, I can't even remember what it was. My favorite Italian dinner is creepypasta.
Oh yeah,
like
that's
that.
right. Creepypastas.
Yes.
Oh good. This is quite the segue. All right.
Yes.
Love it.
Well, this category was really hard for me.
Oh really?
Well, let's all remember that I am scared of everything.
That's so true.
Right. So the only
Yeah.
time I had to work on this and to find a story was very late at night because I work later than I would like to work every day.
That's a very
So then it would be like
political way of
9
saying
o'clock when I was able to get to my personal computer
Yeah.
to find a story. So then it's late at night and I'm in the dark trying to read scary stories to find a good story.
Oh,
And
no.
I couldn't. I could not,
No.
because I would get so scared that I couldn't read it
Oh,
anymore.
no, Nikki.
So that wasn't
Aw.
good. It's okay. So then my husband was the real MVP. And
Nice.
when I told him, I was like, I don't know what to do. I can't read these stories. So then he was reading stories to me. He would open it and he would give me like a Cliff Note version, like a tamed down version.
Yeah.
So then when you're just giving somebody a summary and there's no like anticipation, because when I'm reading it in my head, I'm like, and then I heard a noise.
Right.
And I saw light move under the door.
Yeah.
And then I bent down and I looked under the door and I saw, and then I'd be like, nope, I can't read what the next word is.
Oh.
But he would just be like, they looked under the door and saw a ghost. And I'd be like, okay. So
Okay.
he would just read
Okay.
and like give me, that's not the story I'm doing, by the way.
No,
but he
no,
would give
but-
me,
yeah.
you know, there was no building of suspense.
That's amazing.
He would just be like, yeah, they just did this.
Yeah,
And I'd be
exactly.
like, okay.
Yeah, because the whole
Yeah.
purpose of a creepypasta story is the suspense buildup.
Right. And that just didn't work for me.
Right.
So then
Aw.
I was able to pick a story because once he kind of ruined like the scary parts,
Yeah.
like not ruined, but,
but
you know, spoiled what was going to happen.
yeah.
Then I was like, oh, okay, I know what happens. Like, this is fine.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, wow. Hubby is the real MVP here.
Right.
That's awesome.
But so this episode is going to be a little different because so originally I was trying to find something like a Slender Man or a Goat Man where I could, you know, research it, look it up, make my own notes so that I'm not just plagiarizing somebody else's work.
Of course, yeah.
But honestly, like I couldn't really find anything that hasn't been done a million times because things like Slender Man and Goat Man
True.
have been done 1,000 times.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was like, oh, maybe I'll find like a cool story and then I'll try and, you know, take it and then tell people about it in my own words. But then that literally defeats the entire purpose
True.
of a creepypasta.
Yeah.
So today we're going to go a little different and I am just going to read you a creepy story.
Okay.
So yeah, Megan, you can still interject and talk
I'm
the whole time.
excited. No.
But it's not like I tried putting it in my own words, but then it wasn't a story anymore. It
Kinda
was just
takes
me
away.
retelling somebody else's
Right.
story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I totally get it. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I am very excited because you know me, I love horror, anything.
Yeah, I feel like this is right up your
Absolutely.
This is right in your wheelhouse.
Yay.
So this one, I got it from the r/no sleep Reddit thread,
I love it already.
Yes.
I love no sleep.
and it was posted by the user grand_theft_motto.
Okay.
It has 35.8k upvotes.
Oh my gosh, on a no sleep story. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Right?
Yay. Bring it on.
Yes. So a reminder that this is this person, grand_theft_motto, wrote this story, and this is their story completely, not mine.
Perfect.
It is titled, Something Walks Whistling Past My House Every Night at 3:03.
Oh, that's not creepy at all.
That's not creepy at all, right? You'd be fine with that.
This
if
is why I
keep your bedroom window.
Okay, no, listen. There's a difference between watching and reading and also experiencing. A little bit different.
Yeah, Megan can handle some of those. I can handle none of those.
Yeah.
Every night, no matter the weather, something walks down our street whistling softly. You can only hear it if you're in the living room or the kitchen when they walk by, and it always starts at exactly 3:03 a.m.
How many times are you up at 3:03 a.m. though, really?
Right? Not me. That's
especially
for darn sure.
in the kitchen and the living room area. Like, unless you sleep in those rooms.
I don't know. Maybe you're going for like a little snacky poo.
I guess, yeah, you absolutely could be. Yeah, midnight snacks. Yep.
Yeah, a little 3:00 cheese snack.
Mm-hmm.
The sound starts faint somewhere near the beginning of the lane near the Carson place. We're towards the middle of the street, so the whistling moves past us before fading away in the direction of the cul-de-sac. When I was younger, my sister and I would sneak into the kitchen some nights just to listen. Mom and Dad didn't like that, and we'd catch hell if they found us out there, but they were never too hard on us since we always stuck to the one big rule. Don't try to look at whatever was whistling.
Oh, okay.
Would you try and look, Megan?
Absolutely. Sorry. My curiosity is way too strong.
My neighborhood is a funny place. I've lived here since I was 6, and I love it. The houses are small but well kept, good-sized yards, plenty of places to roam. But there are a lot of other kids here my age. I turned 13 back in October. We grew up together and would always play foursquare in the cul-de-sac or roam around from back porch to back porch in the summer. This was a good place to grow up. I'm old enough to see it, and there's only 2 strange things here: the night whistling and the good luck. The whistling never bothered me much. Like I said, I couldn't even hear it from my bedroom. But Mom and Dad don't like to talk about it, so I've stopped asking questions. My dad is a strong guy, tall and calm. He has an accent since he moved to the U.S. as a kid. His family, my grandparents, they're from the islands. That's what they call it. My dad, the only time he isn't too calm is if the whistler comes up.
Jeez.
He talks a little quick then, eyes move fast, and he tells us not to think about it so much and to always remember the one big rule. Don't try to look outside when the whistler goes past. Not that we could even look if we wanted to. See, there are shutters on the inside of every window, thick pieces of heavy canvas that pull down from the top and latch to the bottom of the window frame. Each latch even has a small lock about the size of what you'd find on a diary. My dad locks those shutters every night before we all go to bed, and he keeps the key in his room.
Okay, that's not normal.
Nope. Would you try and open a door and peek?
I don't
Or
know.
if it was that intense,
Maybe
would you not?
No. No, if it was that intense. Like, if it was just a curtain or something like that, maybe. But if it was, like, bolted shut shutters that are just, like, lock and key kind of thrown away, I would definitely probably stay away, I think.
That'd be stressful every single night.
Yeah, that
going
would be,
into, like, a lockdown before bed.
Yep.
Like, that would not inspire sweet, pleasant dreams.
No, which is probably why they're always awake at 3:03 a.m. is what I'm guessing.
Yeah, there's your answer. They're not snacking for joy. They're stress eating.
Exactly. I know I would be. Also, how loud is this guy whistling that they can actually hear it from inside their home with all the windows boarded shut and everything?
I guess at night, if there's no noises. Some people have a pretty strong whistle.
True. That's true. I know I don't. And I can only whistle if I'm sucking air in and not out. I know.
Really?
It's weird, yeah. I don't know.
That's odd.
I don't know why, but yeah.
How do you whistle when sucking in?
Are you trying to?
That it's just like wind,
I can't.
inward
I
wind,
don't
and
know
not
why
a whistle.
whistling out. Like I can't whistle blowing out. I have to be like sucking it in. That's me sucking air in.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, we learned something new.
Yep.
Some people whistle with inward wind.
It's a thing apparently. I don't know. My mouth is weird.
You heard it. You heard it here first.
What?
Check out Megan's dating profile.
Yeah,
Number one fact. Quote, my
really-
mouth is weird.
I should really put that on there.
Yeah. My mom, I don't know what she thinks about the whistling. I've seen her out in the living room before at 3:03 when the sound starts. I could see her if I cracked my door open just an inch to peek. She's not out there often. At least I haven't caught her much. But once or twice a month, I think she sits out there on her big red couch, just listening. The Whistler has the same tune every night. It's cheerful. Remember how I said there are two odd things about where I live? Well, besides our night whistler, everyone in my neighborhood is really lucky. It's hard to explain, and Dad doesn't like us talking about this part much either, but good things just seem to happen to people around here a lot. Usually it's small things, winning a radio contest or getting an unexpected promotion at work, or even finding some arrowheads buried in the yard, you know, the authentic kind.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Seems like a not, I don't know if that, I'd call that good luck, but unless you got money for it or something.
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Or you could donate it to a museum and educate the masses.
Mm-hmm. True, yeah.
The weather is pretty good and there's no crime. Everybody's gardens bloom extra bright in the fall. A million little blessings I've heard my mom say about living here. But the main reason we stay here, why we moved here in the first place, is my sister Nola. She was born very sick, something with her lungs. We couldn't even bring her home when she was born, only visit her in the hospital. She was so small, I remember, even small compared to other babies. A machine had to breathe for her. We moved into our house here to be closer to the hospital. As soon as we moved here, Nola started getting better.
No way.
The doctors couldn't figure it out. They chalked it up to whatever they were doing, but we all could tell that they were confused. But my parents know, even I knew. Nola getting better was just another of the million little blessings we got for living in our neighborhood. So that's why we stayed, even after we found out that for every small miracle that happens here every day, now and then, some bad things happen. But they only happen if you look for the Whistler.
Okay. Alrighty then. A little creepy.
Now Megan has gone to never wanting to look at the Whistler.
Yeah.
See, our neighborhood has a welcoming committee. They show up with the macaroni casserole and gift basket and a manila folder whenever someone new moves in. They're very friendly. 4 people showed up when we moved in 7 years ago. The committee made small talk, gave me a Snickers bar, took turns holding Nola. It was her first week out of the hospital, so they were extra careful.
Aww.
When the committee asked to speak to my parents in private, I was sent to my room, where I still managed to hear nearly every word.
Of course.
The welcoming committee told my parents about how nice the neighborhood was. Really exceptionally hard to explain kind of nice. But then they told my parents about the even harder to explain whistling that happened every morning at 3:03. It then ended at the tick of 3:05. The group, our new neighbors, warned my parents that the whistling was quiet, would never harm or hurt us as long as we didn't look for what was making the sound. This part they stressed, and I pushed my ear into the door, straining to hear them. People who went looking for the Whistler had their luck change, sometimes tragically. A black cloud would hang over anyone that looked. Anything that could go wrong would. The manila envelope the committee brought over contained newspaper clippings, stories about car crashes and ruined lives, public deaths, and freak accidents. Not everyone dies, I heard the head of the committee tell my dad, but the life goes out of them. Even if they live, there's no light in them ever again.
Oh my gosh.
No presence.
Oh,
yeah.
That's really horrific.
Yeah. This would also cause me to buy shades that locked.
Right. Absolutely.
Because I feel like the temptation is there.
If they weren't already on the windows, because I feel like...
Right. Right, true.
Unless it was a brand new house that they built or something.
Speaking of temptation, Megan, have you been watching Temptation Island like I recommended?
Yes.
Is it just the best trashy television?
I can't stop. I'm a monster. I don't know what's going on with me. It's like all I want to do now is watch this trash. I'm just so addicted to it. It's so good.
It's so addicting.
It's so bad that it's good. Like it's a train wreck. It's like one of those things that's just going so wrong and so horribly that you just can't stop watching. It's so bad. Yeah, I definitely am. I think I'm on season 2. There's only 3 seasons on Crave that I watch it on right now, but I did see that they have a 4th season on air right now, so that'll probably go on Crave at some point anyway. It's good to know that it's still being aired because I can continue to watch trash.
I don't know who is still signing up for this. It clearly is not a good idea.
I know, obviously.
For anyone that doesn't know, it's a reality show, and they take couples who are having struggles and they bring them to an island, and then they separate them, and then they tempt them with other attractive, charming people.
12
to see if they can 12 they get
12
to pick. They have
people.
like a smorgasbord of attractive people in all different types and sizes,
and these poor people, like these 12 people that come in, 12 males and 12 females, and they each go into the opposite sex house to live with them, and it's like they just literally get to these poor single people are actually looking for love with all of these couples that are married. They're not married, but like together. It's like, what is this show? What is happening?
Oh, it's wild. And then yet people keep signing up for it. And I'm like, who signed up for this?
Why?
Everyone can see. Everybody cheats pretty much.
Exactly. Oh yeah. There's not been a case where it was like, at least not tempted, for sure. What I guess is the name of the show, but yeah, it's pretty wild. I'm very invested.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah.
Once you finish that, I'll give you another trash reality show that you'll like. Yep.
Okay, I'll let you know.
My mom, I could tell, she wasn't taking it seriously. She kept asking if this was some prank they play on new neighbors. At one point, my mom got angry, accused the committee of trying to scare us out of our new home, asked them if they were racist on account of my dad being from the islands. My dad calmed her down, told her he could tell our new neighbors were sincere and they were just trying to help us. He explained that he grew up hearing these kind of stories from his mom and that he knew they were strange things that walked among us. Some of those strange things were good and some were bad, but most were just different. After the committee left, Dad went out to the hardware store, bought the canvas blinds, the latches, the locks, and installed them on every window in the house after dinner that day. The first night in our new house, I crept out of my room at 3 a.m., only to find my dad awake, sitting on the living room couch, holding my baby sister. My dad held up his finger in a shh motion, but patted the couch next to him. I sat, and we waited. At exactly 3:03, we heard the whistling.
Ooh.
It came and it went, just like our neighbors said. The whistling returns each night, and we never look, and we enjoy our million little blessings every day. Nola breathes on her own, and she's grown into a strong, clever girl. My dad even joined the welcoming committee. We don't get new neighbors often. Why would anyone want to leave? But when a new family moves in, my dad and the committee bring them the macaroni casserole, a gift basket, and the manila folder. I can always tell by the look on my dad's face when he comes back if the family took the committee seriously or if we'd be getting new neighbors again very soon.
Right. Yeah, because there's probably a lot of people who hear that and want to get the F out of there.
Oh, absolutely.
I would probably stay. I'm so
and
curious.
I would not.
Yeah.
I mean, you say that, but buying and selling a house is not. You can't just be like, oh, we just bought this. Let's just.
Right. It was a mistake. I want to leave now.
Not long ago, a family moved in directly next to us. The previous owner, Miss Maddie, passed away at the age 105. She lived a good long life.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have good luck.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good long life for sure.
Our new neighbors seemed like they'd fit in just fine. They believed the welcoming committee, took my dad's advice about the locking shutters since they had a young child of their own. Whatever newspaper clippings were in that manila envelope, whatever evidence my dad never let us see, I imagine it must have been awfully convincing since our neighbors got along with no issue for the first month. One night, when our new neighbors had to leave town, they sent their son, Holden, to stay with us. He was 12, a year under me at school. I didn't know him well before that night, but as soon as his parents dropped him off after dinner, I could tell it was going to be a bad time.
Oh, no.
He felt his vibes.
I hate when that happens. When you
right?
feel someone's vibes and they're not all about the good stuff.
No.
I sounded like a hippie just then. You know what I mean?
As Megan said that, she was throwing up a peace sign.
That's right.
She put on huge aviators and a flower crown.
That's right.
And a tie-dye shirt.
I wish I had a tie-dye shirt.
Being the most stereotypical image of a 60s hippie.
I put on a wig for the flowing, long blonde
I'm sorry,
locks.
could you please tell me what the adjective lowing is?
Lowing of hair.
Long flowing hair?
Long flowing hair, yeah. Letting down
cut out
my
those syllables.
hair.
We don't need them. Extra work.
That's right. Exactly.
Do you know who was always out there whistling every night? Holden asked the moment the adults left the room. The three of us were sitting in the den, some Disney movie playing idly on the television. My sister and I exchanged a glance. We don't talk about that, I said. I think it's that weirdo that lives in the big yellow house on the corner, Holden said. Mr. Tolles? My sister asked. No way, he's actually really nice. Holden shrugged. Must be a psycho killer then. Nola tensed up. We don't talk about it, I repeated. Let's go in my room and play Nintendo. We spent the next few hours playing games, eating popcorn, and watching movies. Typical sleepover, but I could see Holden was getting antsy. After my parents had wished us a good night, locked the blinds, and gone to bed, Holden stood up from his beanbag and walked over to where Noel and I were sitting on my bed. Have you ever tried looking? He asked. It's nearly time. Like most sleepovers, we'd conveniently ignored any suggestion of bedtime. I was shocked to see he was right. It was almost 3 a.m.
Oof.
I sighed. We don't. See, I can't. I can't even try to look because my dad locks the blind every night and hides the key. He continued, ignoring me. So does our dad, said Nola. No, replied Holden. No, he doesn't.
What?
Holden knows what's up, apparently.
Like, how would he know? That's creepy.
Well, you saw him do it, I said, a little sharper than I meant to sound. Holden grinned. Your dad locks the blind, yeah, but he doesn't hide the key. He keeps it right on his normal keychain. So, I asked, worried I already knew what he would say next, because I had noticed that my dad didn't bother hiding the key anymore after all these years, because he knew that we took it seriously.
Right.
So after your dad locked up, but before your parents went to bed, I went to the bathroom, and on my way, I may have peeked into the room, and I may have seen your dad's keychain on his nightstand, and I maybe went and borrowed the key to the blinds.
No. Oh, no. This is bad news. Bad news bears.
Noel and I stared, and his grin only grew wider. "You're lying," I said. Holden shrugged. "You can check if you want. Just open your parents' door and look. You'll see his keychain right there on the nightstand."
Why wouldn't he just show them the key that he took?
Okay, I know, right? I also thought that too.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not alone.
We're building suspense.
Right, sorry, yeah. Mm-hmm.
"Stay here," I told both of them. "Don't move a muscle." I hurried over to my parents' room, but hesitated at the door. If Holden wasn't lying, my dad would be angry, beyond angry. I was scared thinking about it, but more scared of an open window with the whistler right outside.
Mm-hmm.
I opened the door, barely an inch, and looked in, but it was too dark to see. Taking a deep breath, I walked into the room. 2 steps into the dark, I froze. The whistling started, and I could hear it clearly from my parents' room.
Oh, he already opened the window. Wait, what? Keep going, sorry.
I never realized, but they must have heard the sound every night since we moved into the house.
Oh.
They never told us. I don't think I could have slept through it.
Oh.
I stood there, listening to the whistling coming closer, unsure whether I should turn on a light or call out for my dad. Soft sounds from the living room brought me back to reality. "Nola!" I yelled, running out of my parents' room.
Oh my God, wake up your dad, wake up your dad. Dad
Holden and Nola were standing near the front door next to a window. Holden wasn't lying. I could see him fumbling with the lock on one of the blinds. I heard a click. He did have the key. Holden let out a quick laugh. Nola stood next to him, hunched up, afraid, but maybe curious. The whistling was right outside our house now. I think I made a sound, called out. I can't remember. Time felt frozen, clock hands nailed to the face, but I found myself moving. I'm not fast. I've never been athletic. Somehow, though, I covered the space between myself and Nola in a moment. My eyes were locked on her, but I heard Holden pull the blind all the way down so it could release.
No.
I heard the snap of it start to rise, and I heard the whistling just on the other side of the window. But I had my arms around Nola, and I turned us so she was facing away from the window. At the same time, I jammed my eyes shut. The blind whipped open. The whistling stopped.
Okay. So nerve-wracking.
What would you do if this was the situation? Would you close your eyes or would you look?
I'd
given
absolutely
the opportunity.
close my eyes. I would absolutely close my eyes. The suspense has been built up so much that I know that if this happened and I was this kid, I would know how serious it was at this point. And I would absolutely keep my eyes closed for sure. Yeah.
And you and I don't like to be rule breakers.
No,
so
we do not. Exactly. I'm like,
this is a nightmare situation in like more ways than just the horror of it for us.
Exactly. I'm like, no, we gotta follow the rules. We're gonna get in trouble.
I felt Nola shaking in my arms. "Don't look, okay?" I told her. "Don't turn around." We were positioned so that she was facing back towards the hallway and I was facing the window. My eyes were still closed. I felt her nod into my shoulder. I reached out with the arm, not holding Nola, and tried to touch Holden. My hand brushed against his arm. He was shaking worse than Nola. "Holden?" I asked. Silence. I reached past him and gingerly felt for the window, eyes still sealed shut. The glass was cold against my fingertips, colder than it should have been for this time of year.
Oh my gosh.
I moved my hand up the window, searching for the string to the blind. The glass began to get warmer the further I reached. And there was a gentle hum feeding back into my fingertips from the glass.
Ugh, it's creepy. It's so creepy.
Right? See, this is why I couldn't read these things at
Yeah.
night alone in the
Yeah,
dark.
that's fair. I like the feeling that it gives, like the creepiness and the horror feeling. I love that feeling, but only in the safety of my own home where I know I am safe from all harm.
Yes. I tried not to think about what might be on the other side of the window. Finally, I touched the string and yanked the blind shut. I opened my eyes. In the dim light leaking out from the kitchen, I could make out Holden, pale and small, staring at the now closed window. "Holden?" I asked again. He turned towards me and screamed. Everything became a flurry of motion. Lights sparked to life in the hall, then the living room. My parents' footsteps thudded across the hardwood floor. I didn't turn to look back at them. My eyes were glued to Holden. He was pale. He had bit his lip so hard that there was a thin red line of blood running down his chin.
Oh my God.
And he'd wet himself. "What happened?" my dad asked from behind me. I managed to swivel away from Holden and look back. He looked. I'd never seen my dad scared before, but I saw it that night, in that moment. An old, ugly terror stitched on his face.
Wow.
A parent's fear. "Just Holden?" he mouthed to me. I nodded yes. My dad let out a breath. He looked so relieved, I nearly expected him to cheer. But then he turned to Holden, and my dad's face changed. I wondered if he felt bad for feeling good that Holden was the only one that looked. Then there was a knock at the door.
What? Oh my God. Okay. Who is it?
We all froze. Holden whimpered. "Don't answer it," my mom said. She stood at the threshold of the hall. I'd always thought she was a skeptic and just humored my dad about the windows and the whistler, but that night, we were all believers. I noticed that both of my parents held baseball bats they must have taken from their bedroom. The knock came again, a little louder this time.
Oh, that I heard. Nikki, screw you.
"Please don't open the door," Holden whispered. My dad walked over to him, hugged him close. "We won't," my dad promised, still holding his bat. "Nothing is coming in here tonight." This time the knocking was loud enough to rattle the door. Holden screamed again, and Nola clutched her arms around my neck. My mom came over and knelt down next to us, wrapping my sister and me close. "Call the police," my mom whispered to my dad. The knocking instantly stopped. My dad looked over his shoulder at us. "Do you think..." He was cut off by frantic knocking that trailed off to a polite, "Police," something said from the other side of the door. The voice from outside sounded exactly like my mom, like a parrot repeating the words back to her. "Police.
Oh my God.
Call the police. Police."
Don't do it. Don't open.
My mom pulled us closer. "Police. Police. Police." "Please stop," I heard her whisper. "I don't think calling them will help," my dad said. "How will we know when they're here? How will we know when they're the ones at the door?" The knocking came back, harder than before. The door shook, then it stopped. After a long moment, I heard the knocking again, but it was coming from our back door. We all turned towards the back door, and the knocking immediately returned to the front door. Front to back to front, loud then quiet, then loud again. Suddenly the sound was coming from both doors at once.
Oh God. Okay.
Big, heavy blows like a sledgehammer. Then something started rapping against all of the windows in the house.
Yikes.
Then the walls. It was like we were living inside a drum with a dozen people trying to play at once, or we were a turtle and something was attempting to claw us out of our shell. "Stop," yelled Holden. The knocking died. "I won't tell," Holden said, staring at the door. "I promise I won't tell anyone what I saw. Please, just go away." We waited for nearly a minute. Then we heard it. A soft tap, tap, tap coming from the window Holden had looked through earlier. Holden started to cry, sobbing like a prisoner watching gallows being built outside their cell. My dad held him, brushed his hair, but never lied to him, never told him things would be okay. The tapping at the window went on for the rest of the night.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that is horrifying.
If this was somebody else's child, would you just sacrifice the
I
child
don't know.
to make it stop?
I would want to, but no. I wouldn't.
We huddled together in the living room for I don't know how long. Eventually, my mom tried to take us kids into my room while my dad stayed to watch the door. But the second we moved into any bedroom, the knocking came back. So loud, it was impossible to ignore. I was afraid the door couldn't even take it. We went back to the living room and the knocking stopped. Only the tap, tap, tap on the window remained. None of us slept that night. The tapping stopped around 7 a.m. That's about the time the sun comes up here. We waited another 2 hours before my dad opened the blinds from one window. He made us all go back in my parents' bedroom first. I heard him open the door, then come back in. "Okay," he told us. "It's done."
Man, that was intense.
Holden's parents came back around lunchtime. My mom and dad walked Holden over to his house, and they all went inside for quite a while. Nola and I watched from the window. She stuck to me the whole day, right at my side, sometimes holding my hand. When my parents came back, they looked grim, but wouldn't tell us what they said to Holden's family. It was a Sunday, so we all spent the day together, ordered pizza, watched movies. That night, everyone slept in my room. Nola and my mom in the bed with me and my dad in a chair he'd pulled over. Mm-hmm. The neighbors are hammering, so now there's knocking outside of my window.
The timing, oh my gosh.
Just as I was about to literally read, there was no knocking that night.
I bet you're glad you were actually reading this one at 10, 11 o'clock in the morning as opposed to our
we're doing
normal...
Grimdark in the morning, which we don't normally do.
No. I'm actually kind of glad for it too.
Yeah, early morning. Yeah, because you'd have to then go to sleep alone.
Yeah, exactly. Good times.
There was no knocking that night, or any night since. We didn't see much of Holden or his parents for the rest of the week, but by Thursday, there was a moving truck in their driveway.
Mm-hmm. I saw that coming.
Yeah. Nolan and I watched them packing up the whole afternoon after school. What sticks with me the most is how tired Holden and his parents looked. All three had the same pallor, grim mouths, lightless eyes. Even from across the street, I could tell something was very wrong. Holden and his family were gone before sunset. I remember what the original welcoming committee said to my parents when we moved in. Not everyone who looks at the Whistler dies, but even those that live have the light go out of them, and the rest of their lives are full of misfortune. A million little tragedies.
Aww.
I think Holden's parents must have looked, either to comfort him if they didn't believe, or to share the burden if they did. I watch Nola some days, happy and young and alive, and I wonder if I'd been slower, if she'd looked out the window that night. Would I have looked too, to comfort her, to share the burden? I'm glad I don't have to find out. We still live in that house, in the neighborhood. We still hear our Whistler walking past every night. The blessings, the luck, the good things here that are too good to leave, but we're careful. We don't have friends over to spend the night anymore. and my dad hides the key to the blinds very, very well. Not that I've gone looking, but some things you just don't need to look for.
Yeah. Agreed.
The end.
Oh my God. Wow. Okay. That story was wild.
Snaps.
Snaps.
Snaps to what did I say was Grand Theft Moto?
Yeah, mono.
I wish I could see their real name to be like, hey, this person.
Absolutely. You deserve the writing credit for that one. That was incredible. Holy.
Right?
That one gave me chills. Yeah.
Would you do it? So say you were in his situation and you had a little sister. I mean, you do have siblings.
I do.
So say your sibling or your niece or your nephew looked.
Oh my gosh. If
Would
they
you share the
looked-
burden?
Oh, I don't know. That's a hard question because I'm such a rule follower that I just feel like I wouldn't want to look for that reason. And if it could save like other people in the house for me not to look, I might not look. And I would just want to be of right/sound mind to be able to take care of her if it only affected her. You know what I mean? I think that I wouldn't look just so that I could be that guiding force to try to help as opposed to sharing burden. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's how I feel.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. I don't know. That's wild. I also would just hope that they wouldn't look. Like, close your eyes. If you couldn't make it in time, at least like yell, close your eyes or something to that effect. Like,
yeah.
Like use your own head. I know that she was a lot younger, but yeah, I don't know. That's pretty...
I feel like it's hard too because some people just don't believe in things, you know?
True.
And if
also,
you just genuinely don't believe, then
right,
you would see no harm in looking.
true. And sometimes curiosity gets the better of you too, even if you do
Yes.
believe, which could be problematic, especially with children, because their curiosity tends to override any kind of logic.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know how I feel about that one. That one is it's so subtle. That is what makes it the creepiest thing that I've heard on this show.
And that's why I went with that one. So I was reading some other ones, and okay, so for anyone, I guess we should have explained this first. If people are like, I don't know what a creepypasta is, why do you keep mentioning Italian food?
Right.
So a creepypasta. So for anyone that doesn't know, that story was not real. A creepypasta is, I mean, I don't think it is.
Well, that
It's
we know
just
of.
Basically a horror story that somebody writes, and there was a website called Creepypasta where people would post it, but now creepypasta is just kind of a term for any like user generated horror story written online.
Yeah.
And a lot of people post them on Reddit and read them. There's like a Reddit thread called No Sleep, and it's all just spooky stuff. And so I found a lot of them that I'd read. It would start off really good and it would build all of this suspense, but then people just don't know how to end it. And it would be something really lame, or like they would never like this one didn't really tell you what it was, but it still had a good ending.
Right.
You know, and it still like left you wondering, but some would just like not answer anything. And I'd be like, okay, great. I learned nothing.
Yeah.
Like, so it was hard to find a good one.
Yeah.
That also, cause a lot of them, it was like, I was reading one and it was really creepy and I was like super creeped out. And then it was like, it's ghost. Let's get a Ouija board. Let's get a paranormal investigator. Let's speak to the spirits. Let's have a seance.
Right.
And I'm like, okay,
You lost me.
there's no mystery here.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I subscribe to No Sleep and I read them quite frequently, and I listen to their podcast as well. Their podcast is amazing. If you didn't know they had one, they have all the kinds of creepypasta stories on there, and they have like voice acting as well and music, and their production is
What, you mean my voice acting wasn't good?
No, your voice acting was amazing, and I'm sure the
No, I
sounds
didn't
that you
try
made were
voice
pretty
act.
good. It's like the knocking that I did hear that wasn't actually drowned out by the noise gate actually freaked me out, especially when I wasn't expecting it. Anyway, yeah, they have a great production, so if you like creepypastas, I highly recommend checking them out. But it's just one of those things where they're probably not real, but at the same time, like literally the rules of the no sleep subreddit is like, the story is real, nobody assumes anything different. Like it's like you're writing a story, but it's probably not real, but nobody knows that. So there's another one that I was obsessed with. It was called The Stairs of the Woods. Have you ever heard of that?
Oh yes, yes, I have.
Oh my gosh, that went wild and viral for many years and many years, until it came out that she was just writing a story, and it wasn't. I believe it was a female author. Anyway, and then they sold the rights to it. And now there's nothing about it. But for a while there, it was literally like thought that it was real, and people were then posting their own photos of stairs that they found in the woods.
I listened to a
like,
podcast recently about stairs in the woods.
Oh my god!
Like just all the different accounts and stories. And
stuff. It was so creepy. Like for the longest time, because I followed it right from like the beginning, I felt like it was real, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe this is a real thing. Like this is crazy.
Well, also some things that end up on these like creepypastas or no sleep, like for example, Slender Man was, originally a creepypasta that somebody made for some kind of, I think it was some kind of competition, writing competition or something like that. And they made it, and it just, people loved it, and people loved the story and loved the character, and it got super famous. And then kids started believing that it was real.
Right.
And there's a case where 2 young girls tried to kill a third girl because they thought that if they did that, they could live with Slender Man in his mansion. Right. And they believed in, it wasn't really a religion, but the cause of Slender Man. Right. If they do his bidding, then they can join him if they make this sacrifice. Yeah. So for all that story was made up, it did lead to 2 young girls going to jail because they tried to murder another one of their friends, even though luckily that girl survived.
Thankfully. Seriously.
But for all that story's not real, it clearly had real world implications.
That's the thing. Like, and you'll hear and see stories come up all the time of different characters that are made up, and stories that are made up from game developers or whatever. Like there's another one going around my mom told us about last night when we were all at my brother's, and it's like this big creepy, I don't know, blue character, all furry with like really sharp teeth. He reminds me of Mac and Me. Did you ever watch Mac and Me?
I did not.
Oh, it's a little blue monster. No, it was My Pet Monster. That's what it was called. I'm sorry. Like Mac and Me, that's a different show. It was My Pet Monster, and he was like a little blue monster with like really teeth or whatever. Really sharp teeth.
He really had teeth.
I got excited. Okay.
They were really real.
I like to just skip words. Okay. Anyway, this other one that is coming, like it's kind of going viral right now. It's like I can't remember if it was a video game character. It's like a horror game. It's meant for adults. And this guy, like this character is like really tall. He's like a, I don't know, 7 or 9 foot version of this blue monster with really sharp teeth. And like some of the words it says are very reminiscent of like, something about killing your friends or something to that effect or whatever the case may be. And now it's going around like, because of the stuff that has happened where kids are like getting involved and they're starting to believe and they're starting to pass it around and telling their friends that they need to do this and blah, blah, blah. So we were just like educating my nieces and nephews about what to believe and what not to believe. And oh my gosh, it's just ridiculous. Like there's so many things out there now that you just have to be very careful of. But that's exactly where these stories were coming from. Like they're meant to be like creepy stories that you tell around the campfire or whatever, or on a podcast. They're not meant to be taken seriously.
You don't have your campfire lit in your pod lab over there?
I don't. Not today. No, it's in the middle of the day. So, just wait until the evenings when I light fires in my my apartment. I have sprinklers, so that would not be good. Just set the sprinklers off for the whole building. Yeah. So pretty wild stuff. That was a great story. Thank you very much, Nikki.
No, thank Grand Theft Moto.
Yeah. I think wasn't it Mono? Grand Theft Mono?
No, it's Moto. M-O-T-T-O.
Oh, T-T-O. Sorry. I don't know why I thought you said M-O-N-O. M-O-N-O.
Maybe I said motto.
Oh, maybe.
Moto?
Maybe. And
Motto.
I just misheard. Yeah, that's possible.
Well, now I can't remember which one it is. It's
I'm
one
so
of those.
sorry. Yeah, you said it at the beginning, so just go back and listen if if you want to know who to look up. I'm sure he's got other stories. If you go to his profile, you can see like the list of stories that they write, all the things that they've posted. So it's always fun to go back and see what other stories. If you like an author on there or you like somebody's stories, just go to their profile and you can kind of see all the other stuff that they've written and see if you enjoy their works. And yeah, I love following people on there, and then they become famous and get deals to write their own books and stuff. It's quite good. Cool. Well, I guess it's my turn to roll.
Yes.
I wasn't prepared. I didn't have the document open.
Oh my goodness,
I know.
Megan. Amateur hour.
Right? Seriously. It's been so long since we've done this. You and your 3-parter episode. Okay, here I go. Oh my God. That was a 4. Aliens!
Ooh, fun.
Sorry.
You were disappointed, but then that flipped around pretty quick.
I'm really excited. Yay, I love aliens. I love stories about aliens. Man, there was I don't know if I've said this before, but my dad used to be really like huge into UFOs and aliens.
Oh yeah,
and stuff
you
like
said that, yeah.
as a kid. So he like got the SETI screensaver thing that apparently like controls a satellite somewhere and it scans the sky for alien life forms. I don't know. He was showing me. It was so cool. And oh my gosh, I'm such a sci-fi nerd because of my dad. God love him. Anyway, I'm very excited about that. Okay, cool. Well, if you would like to follow us on social media, you know where to find us. Just search Grimdark Diaries or the Grimdark Diaries, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I also may have started a TikTok for us.
Don't say that because we didn't post any TikToks.
Oh, okay.
Don't promise people and then not deliver.
Okay. Okay, we won't tell them that part then. So if you want to send us an email, we are at the grimdarkdiaries@gmail.com. And if you are listening to us on an Apple podcast, if you would love to give us a 5-star rating and review, that would be awesome. We would absolutely appreciate that. Help us get our name out there and show up on other people's lists due to the algorithms that they have. Any other podcast platform that you follow us on, that would be greatly appreciated if they offer the like, subscribe, follow, ratings, whatever they offer. You could do that. Spotify has ratings now. You can go onto our Spotify account and give us a 5-star rating on there as well. That would be super. We appreciate all of you very much for doing that. So you can join us next week to see what I come up with for aliens. So excited. And remember, a friend in the dark beats alone in the light.